gruesome, gory, traumatizing, heart-wrenching, and gripping. All those things.
So I'm going to be talking about Killing Stalking, and this is a webtoon done by Kogi, Koogi. This is the first one I've read like this. This is a psychological horror drama. So I have read horror ones before, but the psychological one is it's new to me. So you follow Bum. See, I almost forgot already. I read too much. You follow Yoon Bum, and he is a very small, petite guy, and he has a tendency to be overly obsessive and stalks people. And he doesn't really, he'll stalk women, and he'll stalk guys. Like, the one he's stalking right now, his name is Oh Sang-woo, and he, like I said, Bum has the obsession with Sang-woo and has actually gone to his house repeatedly and been trying to figure out the passcode or the passkey to get into his house. Now, Bum goes over to his house one day, and while he's trying to break into his house, the cops pull up and they're like, I know who lives here. Who are you? What are you doing here? And he's like, oh, I'm Sang-woo's cousin. Because he knows Sang-woo's name because he stalked him on social media and he's actually been following him, but doesn't approach him because Bum is a dude and being gay is very much still frowned upon in this webtoon, just like it is in other parts of the world. So the cop is actually got out of the car and is coming and approaching him to...
So as Bum is getting approached by the cop, he types in the passcode one more time, and luckily he is able to get into Sang-woo's house and escapes the cop and shuts the door. Now, he decides to be a little creeper because he's a stalker and he's obsessed with Sang-woo. So he goes into Sang-woo's bedroom, he's smelling his pillows and his blankets, and he's getting all hot and bothered. And while he's being nosy and going through Sang-woo's house, the cops that were just bothering him actually continue to drive, and they actually see Sang-woo on the side of the road with a girl. And they stop him and they say, hi, yeah, we just saw your cousin. The cat's bumping. We just saw your cousin. He was at your house. And Sang-woo's like, oh, okay. And it kind of, in the webtoon, it kind of clips away from him and it goes back to Bun. Now Bun hears a noise coming from the basement. Now this part I actually thought was a little unusual because most of the webtoons and mangas I've read, not many homes or the homes in any of the manga or webtoons, it's very uncommon for them to have a basement. And granted, this is a psychological horror, so it does make sense for it to be in this one, but he hears a noise coming from the basement, and he goes into the basement, and there is a girl who is chained to a pole or a pipe in the basement. She's got her mouth is blocked, she's tied, ankles are tied, hands are tied, one of her legs is broken, and he takes the tape off to try and talk to her and help her and get her name, and she freaks out thinking that he is the bad guy. So she starts screaming, and as she's screaming, Bum cannot hear Sang-woo coming into his house and sneaking up behind him. So Sang-woo bashes Bum in the back of the head with a bat, and he's unconscious. He's down. And this is all within the first chapter. It is a very gripping beginning. It is very wonderful. But this whole webtoon goes into the psychological manipulation that Sang-woo does to Bum. Pretty much, Bum gets Stockholm Syndrome, where you fall in love with your captor, whoever, has you. And I think part of the issue for poor Bum is that Bum loved Sang-woo before he was even captured by him. So Bum already has feelings for Sang-woo, even though he didn't know that Sang-woo was a freaking psychopath. He still had feelings for him. And after time, Sang-woo actually opens up to Bum and starts liking Bum as a person and as a partner. Yeah, he still goes through and like degrades him and knocks him down and beats him up. It's really weird. It's a very weird relationship with a lot of physical, mental, and emotional abuse. And it goes through the process of, you know, poor Bum gets his leg broken, all the way up to, you know, him taking care of Sang-woo when he gets hurt later on. Like, they actually get into a relationship. But along the way, there are multiple people getting murdered. And, whew, it was a trip. It was a good webtoon. I will not go into too much of it because I definitely think you should read it if you haven't read it, because it was very, very well done. I will say, to me, that the cons I didn't like was Bum. Now, I get the fact that the artist or the author wanted Bum to look younger or more innocent than Sang-woo, and I get that. But it was kind of hard for me to read because Bum looked like he was like in middle school. Like, most mangas, they try to at least make them be more mature looking, but the artist, the author, did not do that. Bum looks very young, and for me, I was really uncomfortable reading it. But there was like a blip saying like Bum is like college age during this story. So, like, in the back of your mind, you know, like, okay, he's in his 20s, it's not so bad. But still, you see Bum's face and you're like, Bum looks like he's 15. So that part was kind of weird for me. That was like the only thing I didn't like. Sang-woo, even though he's crazy, he is so hot. The artist did a great job at making Sang-woo just like that hot, broody, delinquent boy that you just want to like gobble up. But he's crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Good story. Good ending. The ending kind of left, I don't know, that's like part of the psychological thing, is like you don't really know like if the person is crazy at the end or if something else is going on. You're kind of just like, it's good. I would highly recommend it. If you haven't read it yet, I would recommend you read it. I will say that there's sex in it, there's violence in it, there's murder in it, there is freaking psychological torture, abuse, there's rape. Like, it's not for the delicate or the lighthearted. It is definitely a gruesome, manipulative story that will make you want to stay up and read it, because you're just like, what is going to happen next? And there's like just enough of like that cliffhanger feeling at the end of the chapter where you're like, oh, are they gonna get caught? Is this guy gonna die? Like, what's gonna happen? It is great. I love it. Anyway, Stalking, recommend.